What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Just a quick note, make sure you like and subscribe to the channel if you already haven't, and comment on the videos, get that algorithm going. I've been starting to do trailer reactions, and obviously we got the podcast going, and I'm probably going to be doing some other promo videos and other reaction videos as well. So stay tuned, and back to the show. Home of Horror, the Home of Horror podcast. Home of Horror, the Home of Horror podcast. So that's your third Stephen King? And welcome back to the Home of Horror podcast, episode 36. Cheers, right? It's kind of early in the morning to drink whiskey. It's only 11:30 a.m. I'm recording this on Easter Sunday. Last night I just watched the brand new Ty West film, X. Oh man, this movie blew me away, dude. Absolutely blew me away. Just want to show you what I'm drinking today. 50 Stone whiskey. It's a Highland style malt, so it's technically a Scotch, but if it's not made in Scotland, then you can't call it Scotch, right? So it's a Highland style. Very good. So make sure you grab a drink and have one with me. All right. But yeah, X came out, I think, March 18th. It didn't come to my local theater. I don't know about you guys. Seemed like it was kind of like a limited theater release, probably all major cities and stuff, but it wasn't exactly a, nationwide release for this movie, which I kind of like, but at the same time, I wanted to see it in theaters, and I just, couldn't get anywhere to go see it. Especially having a kid, you just have to kind of pick and choose, what you want to go see. Can't take time off all the time, But yeah, this movie, nothing really out about the budget yet or how much it's made. It just came out of theaters, just came on demand. So I watched it last night, and I was just blown away, dude. Like, this is what I want to see in horror. It's an A24 production. Fucking brilliant movie. It feels like A24 is kind of taking over the game. Now, they do a lot of like art house and movies, artsy movies as well. Some that I haven't liked, but some I've really, really liked. This movie in particular just absolutely blew me away. Amazing story. It's pretty much about a group of actors that set out to make an adult film in rural Texas under the noses of their reclusive hosts. But when the elderly couple catches their young guest in the act, the cast finds themselves in a desperate fight for their lives. And that's exactly what it truly is. These guys this whole crew sets out to film a porno movie pretty much in the late 70s. All these, struggling actors and strippers and stuff, they want to make it big time. So they think if they make a movie that's more in depth with the storyline, but make it an X-rated movie, that, they can push themselves to stardom pretty much. This movie gives off heavy Texas Chainsaw Massacre vibes. Not necessarily with the plot, more of the look and feel of the movie. And obviously there are some scenes with like, they're all, cooped up in a van, for instance. So like obviously that gives you TCM vibes, right? They're all sitting in the back of a van. They go to a gas station at first, just like a typical setup for a 70s slasher movie. By the way, I'm not planning on doing heavy spoilers, but I might, blurt out some stuff while I'm drinking the whiskey. So if you haven't seen the movie, make sure you go watch it first before you check out this episode. Yeah, the plot is great. Ty West is a very good writer and director. His movies are on point. The Innkeepers, The House of the Devil, and he's done some stuff that's not horror as well, but his return to horror with this movie is much needed for the horror genre, and it was great that A24 wanted to do this. The cast, Jenna Ortega, playing Lorraine, which is funny because, she's obviously in the new Scream movie, and her character in Scream mentions that she likes Hereditary, which is an A24 movie, and then now she's in an A24 movie, so fucking awesome. Brittany Snow plays Bobby Lynn. Then you got Kid Cudi playing Jackson Hole. You have Martin Henderson, who's like the producer of the film. Just a typical Texas-looking dude. that has a little bit of money. He's obviously trying to make it as well. Um, yeah, man. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, late 70s slasher vibes. You know, it's based in 1979. Um, like I said, they have that van scene where they're all riding in the back of the van. It's just the shot, you can tell from the front of the van to the back of the van just looks so much like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And it's funny because, like, obviously they're, making a porno, and the side of the van says plowing services. I got kind of a fucking chuckle at that. So there is some dark humor in there to go along with the plot, which is not humorous at all, really. Um, but yeah, I mean, most of this movie is like, it's just, I don't know, the way it's shot. They have a lot of zoom in and zoom out shots, especially when they're on this little pond and stuff like that, like a lagoon almost. And they do a lot of zoom in and zoom outs in the fields and stuff like that. And then, the scenes that are much darker are just shot really well. A lot of close ups, a lot of zoom outs, like I said. Interesting way to shoot. You don't see that with the old 70s slashers, but, so you're bringing that kind of new age look, or as far as filming wise, and then you're adding it to that late 70s slasher feel. Um, the cast itself is just phenomenal. I mean, it's not like an all-star cast or anything, but seeing Kid Cudi in this, he did an amazing job. It's not really focused on his character that much, but he did exactly what he needed to do for his character. Um, Brittany Snow, same thing. Their characters kind of coincide. They're not the main characters, even though they kind of feel like they're going to be at the beginning. But really, we have Mia Goth front and center stage of this fucking movie, and she is an absolute legend. She really is. We'll get more into her character and, or should I say characters, right? A little bit later. Brittany Snow's character, she's kind of like the big wig actor in the movie, and she's like a little over the top, which is funny. She has some like great lines, like at the gas station, she buys like, Wayne, the producer, which is her, her producer or whatever, buys her cigarettes, and she's like, buys her Winston's, and she's like, Winston's? I only smoke Old Golds, like stupid shit like that, like over the top Texas actor, you know, X-rated actor, I guess, and she does a great job at it. But she was a little bit she's probably supposed to be over the top. I get that. But her and Kid Cudi's characters together are very good. They set a tone early for like being like, hey, this is our movie, and we're the stars of it, kind of thing. And then Jenna Ortega's character is just kind of the sound girl who's feeding off. I think it's Owen Campbell. He plays RJ, I think his name is in the movie. Who's directing and filming the movie, and he's kind of going for that, hey, I want to make it as a director rather than just being in the film industry, or the adult film industry, sorry. He wants to make it bigger than that, so he thinks if he makes a movie that's an X-rated movie that has a better plot and more depth to it, that he can take that next step. And then Jenna Ortega, who's Lorraine, his girlfriend, is like kind of just they call her church mouse in the movie. She's just kind of tagging along, helping him out. He makes a comment at the beginning being like, oh, when did you become such a prude? I didn't know you were such a prude. And, that kind of goes further in her character development by like the mid to end, last act of the film. She's like, oh, I'm not a prude. I want to be in the movie now. I want to see, I have seen how this is filmed. I've seen what it's like. Because you can tell she's kind of shy at the beginning, and then he gets all pissed off because she wants to be in the film and all this shit. So he's kind of going back on his word and shit like that. He kind of becomes the prude, So overall, just great characters for this type of film, And this movie is, I guess I really hate this term, but this movie is like, I guess it would, to a lot of people, would be considered an elevated horror movie. And I kind of hate that term because it just kind of means that like there is horror movies that aren't up to standards to like people's standards. You know what I mean? And that goes for like the artsy, the people that like the artsy films and stuff like that, and not really the blood and gore. Yeah, so I kind of hate that term because it is elevated horror, but I wish we thought of that term as like A24 took this movie and they were like, hey, it's not necessarily a better movie than the old slashers and stuff like that, but it's more of, hey, let's take this type of film, this style of film, and this type of story, and let's actually give it the budget that it deserves, rather than a lot of other big production companies would be like, oh well, it's just a slasher movie, let's give them barely what they need, and just throw a bunch of blood in it, and kind of move on. You don't need big actors, you don't need amazing writers and shit like that. But instead, A24 takes the concept of elevated horror and says, hey, let's, instead of saying that it's going to be a better, looking down upon other movies, it's saying, hey, let's give those types of movies a bigger budget. And that's amazing to me because I really do hate that term. I guess I don't hate the term, I just hate what it stands for. I wish it stood, more for what they did with this movie. Let's say, hey, let's give them the budget. It's not necessarily better than Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's not better than the old Friday the 13th movies. It's just, hey, those movies deserved a certain budget that they didn't get, and so let's give it that budget. Let's give them the opportunity to make a bigger movie and put it in theaters and stuff like that, because you never got that in the 70s. I mean, horror movies were looked down upon. I really think they were. So it is an elevated horror, but just only to a certain extent. I just think about it as, a different definition. It's just really, really, really well executed. Obviously the soundtrack is fucking amazing. You have like some fucking, Stevie Nicks in there and shit. Just, you got Kid Cudi playing guitar and stuff. It's very good. And then not just the soundtrack, but the, score and the sounds all together. There's a lot of times in this movie where there is no music, and it's just that dead quiet, like Texas land kind of talking to you, fucking alligators swimming, crickets chirping, the grass swaying, stuff like that. And that kind of adds to the tension of the film. Not to mention, like, there's a few alligator scenes in the film that kind of, at the beginning, Mia Goth goes out for a swim in like the fucking lagoon or whatever it is. I don't know what you would call it in Texas there, but it's kind of like just like a swamp area, And she has one scene where she takes off her clothes and just goes swimming in the swamp, and like, you do see the old lady behind her. But then they got this awesome aerial view of her swimming back to the dock, and you see an alligator behind her just kind of creeping up on her. And so the tension starts really early in the film. Not to mention the gore is good as well. I mean, when they're on their way to the farmhouse, they like come across a traffic jam because a cow gets absolutely fucking railed in the road, and they just show all of it. The tires going over the meat, and they show the whole cow itself. They don't, Ty West does not shy away from the gore. So obviously still an ode to that old 70s, early 80s slasher feel, But yeah, I mean, so the soundtrack was great. You also have, now this is something I want to dive into quite a bit. That's really why I wanted to do this episode. It's Mia Goth herself. I mean, she's just an absolute fucking queen, man. She is a legend in this movie, and she needs to be in more horror movies after this because she did such a good job as Maxine, this actor that's really saying, hey, she's dating Wayne, who's the producer of the adult film, and she really wants to take her acting skills to the next level and be noticed, and she wants to become a star, right? That's like the whole thing. And she does such a good job at that character, but also she plays Pearl. She plays the old lady, the the reclusive host. You know, it's Pearl, and I think it's Howard is his name, played by Stephen Uri. You know, they both do a great job as the hosts. These two old people that you don't really understand what's going. They don't know the movie's being made, and they just have some secrets you can tell right off. You know, from the get go. And Mia Goth plays Pearl, the old lady, as well. And it took me a second because, like, if you look through the cast, obviously you're not going to find that because you know that's a big secret in the movie. But I just kept looking at Pearl every time I saw her, and there's a scene where Maxine and Pearl are face to face, and they have like you know, they have some dialogue in the house, and I just kept looking at her, and then back at Mia Goth, and I'm like, oh my god, it has to be her. It has to be her. No, I don't know if that was, you know, mentioned before the movie came out. I didn't read a lot about this movie. It seemed like it just started like we saw the trailer and then boom, it was out and then boom, it was on demand. Like everything happened really quickly. But she plays Pearl, and I mean, she does an amazing job. She has a lot of prosthetic on and makeup and stuff like that, but she does such an incredible job at playing this old character, this old lady that is kind of tormented by the fact that, you know, she's tormented by these young girls walking around in their skimpy outfits or no clothes at all, and that she's not young anymore. Like her youth was wasted, and that's what you get the sense of. You know, she's tormented by seeing them, and she, you know, Howard is too old and he has heart conditions, so like he can't have sex with her, and she's tormented by that. You know, she's jealous of these young women. And that's kind of the plot of the movie, right? Like they start to kind of, you know, Pearl starts to get a little creepy because she almost wants, it's kind of like the other way around. You think the plot's going to go, oh, these, you know, religious old folk like don't want these, you know, sinful teens around, or you know, these sinful young ladies and young men around making this movie. They want them gone. So that's how you think the plot's going to go, and then you're like, oh shit, it's the other way around. You know, they actually want in on it and can't because they're so old. Their youth is gone, and they're missing that. And which I think, if you know, anybody that's older, or when we get older ourselves, we're gonna kind of feel that. You know what I mean? We're gonna you know, I feel like every person goes through that, and then Ty West says, hey, let's take that and like really dramatize it, you know what I mean, to the point where like these two characters are just not okay, you know, and they start doing, you know, terrible things. They start killing off these young people because they can't, you know, Howard can't get it done pretty much. But yeah, Mia Goth, I mean, as this character is just brilliant, man. And I just wonder, if I was thinking about this when I was watching after the movie ended and the credits were rolling, I was like, is she the first like is she the first killer slash or and final girl in horror movie history? Like, is she the first one? Is she the first final girl ever to also play the killer at the same time? And I was thinking about it. I was like, I think it's true because I don't know if there's any other scream queen or actor that has played the villain at the exact same time. There's not many movies, period. Forget the horror genre. It's like the other one that came to mind was like Eddie Murphy, obviously. Like there's not many, especially women, that play two different characters in one movie and then they face off at the end of the movie. So I really wonder if she is the first final girl and killer in movie history. Because I mean that's why that's gonna throw her down in history, dude. Like that's big news right there. If she can do that. I mean that's a huge acting accomplishment. And I just feel like she is the first. If I'm wrong, comment the movie and the actor that did it, because I really don't know. Comment that below. I would like to know. I really feel like I'm right on this one, that she's, I didn't do too much research because I don't even know how to research that, but I just don't think there's another actress that has done that, or actor. I don't know. So that's, just an amazing accomplishment. And I don't know if everybody, saw that it was Mia Goth, or if they, I don't know if that was a thing. I really haven't heard that much about this movie, like I said. So I don't know if everybody knew that Mia was playing Pearl as well. Maybe they did. I don't know. But yeah, let me know in the comments if that's a thing, because I think that's a huge accomplishment in the horror genre where you have a final girl and she's the villain. You know what I mean? Um, Another thing about this movie, and I didn't get to see it, which sucks. Apparently, um, there's a post credit scene, and it's kind of a trailer to the prequel of X. So apparently, they've already filmed the prequel to this movie, and it's called Pearl, which obviously is starring Mia Goth, and it's all filmed. It's like in post production right now, and it sucks because it was a post credit scene in the theaters, and apparently not everyone, like only the U.S. got it. I heard that like in other countries there was no post credit scene, but now that it's on demand and it's streaming on Amazon and stuff, they don't have that footage. So it was just in theaters, so not everybody gets to experience it. Now, the DVD comes out May 24th, and believe me, I'll be at the store that day to buy it. I don't know if it's going to be on the DVD, but yeah, apparently it's a literally a teaser trailer to the prequel to this movie called Pearl. So it's all about Pearl, the old lady, back in 1918. So this movie's 79. This movie will take place in 1918, because there are some little holes in the plot where you're trying to wonder like what's going on with Pearl. You understand that she's kind of sex crazed and she's old and she's she's sad that she's lost her youth. She feels like she wasted it. Um, you have a few scenes where she kind of she kills RJ in front of the van, which is a beautiful scene. It's like she's just stabbing him, stabbing him, stabbing in the throat, and the blood is splattering on the headlights of the van, and then that creates obviously a red tint to the whole shot. And then a song plays. I can't remember the song, but she starts dancing by herself. And apparently in the trailer, in the post-credit scene, she does that same dance with like a scarecrow when she's younger with that song. And then at the end of the movie, Pearl looks at Maxine and she says, "You're going to turn out, you have no idea, like you're going to turn out just like I did." And you just kind of wonder what that's about. That is a little bit of a hole where like that's not really explained. They don't go deep into Pearl's youth or why she feels the way she does, other than the fact that she's older. Um, so I'm just wondering. It sucks that I can't like I haven't seen it. I haven't seen that post credit scene, so I'd love to like touch on it more, but like I can't because I have no idea the whole thing. I've only seen just bits and pieces of screenshots of the post credit scene. So, but apparently we're getting that movie. It's that movie can come out within 6 months because it's in post production already. So we might get it quick. They filmed them pretty much back to back, and then apparently this is going to be a trilogy. So we have X, then we have Pearl, which is the prequel, and then I think we're getting. I don't know if the third movie is going to take place in the future more, or I heard that they have plans to do a movie about like home videos. So this is Ty West's like trilogy, like baby. He's creating a trilogy pretty much about cinema and about video and about filming. Um, so it's all based on like this movie is obviously based on the adult film industry. Pearl is going to be based. Apparently, she's heavily influenced by this by old Hollywood cinema back in the early 20s and the early 1900s. And then I think his third movie is going to be based on like home videos and stuff like that. Now I don't know if that means found footage style or if that means that he's just going to base the plot around filming home videos. But it is kind of cool that he's taking what he loves and making movies about it. It's kind of like this weird inside look, of something that he loves to do. He loves to make movies. He loves to direct. So he's like, hey, what if I make movies about making movies? Which is weird, right? But I mean, that could be super fucking cool, dude. And I'm excited to see Pearl. I wish I'd seen the post-credit scene. I'm hoping it's going to be on the DVD. I really am. I just don't know why they wouldn't put that out in streaming. Like, I mean, how are you going to promote that movie now? I mean, obviously we'll get a I'm sure like a full trailer will come out at some point, but if that's the post credit scene, don't you want that in there? Don't you want people to see that? So I don't know why they did that. It seems like kind of like a miss on the marketing part. Um, I really wish I would have seen that because I could touch on it more. And it's like bugging me. You know, I looked everywhere. I researched. I went on blogs. I went on YouTube. Couldn't find it anywhere. And hopefully within the next month or so, we can see that. Or hopefully it's on the DVD as well. Um, but yeah, this movie's fucking awesome. I love it. This is what I want. This is what horror is about. Obviously, you get the slasher feel. You get a great story. You get a bunch of nudity, a bunch of gore, great kills, fun kills. You get a few jump scares in there just to build the tension. You have the kills are creative as well. You know, you have just typical slasher kills with stabbings. You have some kills, people being shot. You have you have that one scene where Jenna Ortega or Lorraine's locked in the basement. She takes an axe to the door. It gives you like a shining feel, and then her fucking hands gets bashed in. You have kills from an alligator. I mean, the kills are all over the place, and they're all sweet. I mean, they don't like leave you hanging at all. So that's good. But yeah, this movie was just great. It's a breath of fresh air, and I dare to say that this movie is the best of 2022 so far. I think this, you know, beats Scream so far. I think that it's something new, it's something fresh. Hopefully, the other two pieces to this trilogy are great because this movie is awesome, and I can't wait to add it to the collection. I can't wait to see where Mia Goth goes as Pearl. Um, yeah, I mean this restarts Brittany Snow's career. She hasn't been in anything in a very long time, and it also um, breathes new life into Ty West's film career as far as horror goes. So I'm very excited to see what happens with this trilogy. Hopefully, they all live up to what this movie did because I feel like this movie was not promoted a lot. It just kind of came out, and all of a sudden there was this huge buzz around it. You know, when it first came out, I was like, oh, I don't know, obviously I'll see it because it's a horror movie. But then all of a sudden it came out in theaters, and that weekend people were like, oh my god, it's making so much at the box office. This movie's crazy. Everyone needs to see this movie. I mean, major critics were saying that. Um, and that's important because it's breathing fresh air into the horror genre. It's giving these new ideas, but still honoring this is a whole fresh idea for a movie, but it's still honoring, you know, the movies that we love, those nostalgic movies that we all love. Um, bringing new light to the slasher genre again, and it's not a reboot. It's not the new Candyman. It's not the new Scream. It's not Halloween. It's something completely different. But, and it's not like we're gonna get this same, it's not like Pearl and Howard both die, so it's not like we're gonna get the same, villains, but it's still a great ode, and it's a one off as far as those characters go. Then you get the prequel, obviously, but they're not going to be like these continuous characters. But it's still a breath of fresh air for slasher movies and slasher fans, in my opinion. So very excited about this movie. I give it, man, 8.5 out of 10 probably. I might even want to go higher, but I want to make sure you know, I only saw it yesterday, so I want to make sure I watch it again and get that breath and take it slow. Give it time to digest. But amazing movie, 8.5 out of 10 right now. Great cast, great soundtrack, great writing. Overall story is amazing. Just a fun movie. Yeah, very cool, awesome, loved it. Recommend highly. So yeah, that's that's episode 36. I thank you guys for joining me. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Instagram, New England HOH. That's New England Home of Horror. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. It's all the same handle. I appreciate you guys joining me, and I'll see you next time. Peace. Home of Horror, the Home of Horror podcast. Home of Horror, the Home of Horror podcast. So that's your third.